So that should be live. Yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube is live. Should be live now. And then we're going to go live on Instagram. Why is that not going live? Now, actually, I've just found out, if anybody's watching, even though Instagram won't go live, it is on the app now. So you have to refresh the app. So we're live on the app there, and then you just press that. Whoa, that's exciting. That's never worked before. So if you want to watch through the app, you can. And I'm just going to turn the volume off there. So that's very useful to know. But Instagram isn't going like, oh, now it's echoing because that's bizarre that Instagram isn't working. I'll come back to that in a minute because it should come on shortly. Right, we're going to work on it's movement and breath, and we are going to focus a little bit on breath as well today, because I want to focus on doing some isometric holds, so some isometric contractions, because what that will help with is that strength and stability. And we've just been chatting in our Zoom session there about often when we're doing like holding a position, so say we're doing like a hold or a balance on one leg, if we just focus on the hold of the position and end up holding our breath, our mind is telling, because we're holding the breath and we're creating tension in the mind as well, is telling the system we're in sympathetic, we're in danger zone. If we actually hold an isometric contract, i.e. hold a position and breathe easy in and out through the nose, calm breathing, the breathing is signaling to the brain that we're not in a dangerous position. So therefore your body's you're loading the body in a good, safe way, telling the mind that this is a great thing to do. So we'll have a little play with that. But let's start off first with feet shoulder width apart and into knocking. Breathing easy in and out through the nose. So we'll do our little bit of mobilization. Then we'll do some little bit more strength, body strength, and including that some isometric holds. Breathing easy. Now just keep doing that while I just double check why this isn't working. For some reason that is not working. We are not on Instagram. Sorry, Instagram. Oh, that's what it's telling me. Do that. Destination couldn't be. No worries. And then slowing down into water waves. And having a little bit of a shake out. Let's do shoulders. So big shoulder circles. And also use the spine. So we've got a little bit of drop down, lift up, breathe with it, breathing in. And as you roll the shoulders back, breathing out. And changing direction. Just put my microphone in the pocket so I don't catch it. What way we're going? That way. Shake out. Let's do arm stretches, so palms, really stretching the fingers, flexing down and then stretching out and round. Spiraling. And reverse direction. And then have a bit of a shake. Hinge, slight hinge forwards. So what I'm doing is I'm going there and going there. So I'm just hinging forwards ever so slightly. So slight hinge forwards from the hips. Swing the arm. Nice and stable, rooted through the ground. So nice and strong through the ground, through the feet. Freeing the shoulder. And then other arm. My right arm, my right shoulder clunks, my left arm flows beautifully. So we're always going to have maybe one side feels slightly easier than the other. And then together. And slow it down, shake out. Washing the face, so bringing one hand down the front and then the other hand down the front, and then we start to create that little bit of rotation in the shoulders. It's not too big this. I was doing it quite big the other night, or the other morning, so I was almost doing the same as that. So make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bend in the elbows. Feel how the shoulder blades are affected. And then you can go the other way with that. And shake out. Take a little bit of a rest. Let's do a standing position, palms facing down. Just giving the breath that moment to settle. And then we're going to hips. So a little bit wider on the feet. Let that hip drop out. Hips back. Drop to the other side. Forwards. Remember when we come forwards, you just do a gentle lift through the sternum. Think of the hamstrings working as we tilt forwards as well. You can do it with your hands on your hips. I'm really into just letting the arms dangle at the minute, because you can see if you start to hold tension at one side or both sides, so just letting the arms dangle. Breathing easy. Changing direction. Take a rest. And then bring your feet fist width apart. Balance on one leg. We'll do point and flex the toe, or the feet, so you're pointing and flexing the toes and the ankle, the foot. Really feel this fascia stretching the sole of the foot. Can you spread the toes? And then we'll circle. Feel how that affects that whole leg, lower leg in particular, around the ankle, the calf. Spreading the toes, whoa, falling over. Changing direction. And shake out. Stand for a moment just to feel that foot connected to the ground. And then opposite side. Point and flex. Circle. Spreading the toes. Opposite direction. And shake out. Let's do a bit of a leg swing, so balancing, and then we're doing that internal rotation. Sorry, do it right. Internal rotation, external rotation, pop the foot back on the floor, and then balance on the opposite side. And just go side to side. I'm not balancing on that side very well. Freeing up the hip. And then have a good shaking out of the legs. Let's have a good shake actually. Feel like a good shake, tapping the heels into the ground, freeing up the shoulders, cleansing and clearing. And then moving into standing, shoulders open, palms facing forwards. Let's do a few tigers, so feet shoulder width apart. Just put the clock, I can't see my clock. There we go. Feet shoulder width apart. If we can, facing parallel or a little bit turn out, whatever feels comfortable. Actually, sorry, because we're doing tigers, go for that little bit of a turn out. Just nice and steady, breathing easy. Slow, slow, slow. And on the next one, we're just going to go down to a position, maybe about halfway down, and just hold that position, but breathing in and out through the nose. If it gets to the point where it's too much, you start to breathe, or you start to breathe hard, or you start to hold the breath, then just come up to standing. So remember, we're holding a position, everything's nice and aligned, we're loading the body, but we're telling the mind by breathing nice and gently in and out through the nose that all is good. The minute we lose control of that breath, or the minute it feels too much, come up to standing. So it's not about overloading the system. It's not about strain. It's about loading to that point where you're getting some good quality strength, but then coming out and taking a rest when you need to take a rest. Let the breath settle, because when you come up and take a rest, heart rate might go up a little bit, breath rate might go up a little bit. You can stand. So I'm not going to count and say, right, 10, 9, 8, 7, because everybody's going to be different. If you're on Zoom, don't watch what others are doing. Just when you're ready to come back up, come back up. It's not a competition. Let's do 4 tigers, and then on the 5th, we just stay in that position, breathing easy in and out the nose. Remember, we're loading the body, we're strengthening the body, we're telling the mind by breathing easy in and out through the nose, all is calm, all is safe. Sounds like a Christmas carol. We'll sing Christmas carols. Let's do 4. Breathing easy. What is that? Oh, that's Silent Night, isn't it? Is it Silent Night? Yeah, you can sing Christmas carols with it. And then on the 5th one, remember, keep that chest lifted. Nice and strong through the lower body. Breathing in and out through the nose. When you're ready, come up to standing. When you do come up to standing, next one, let's come to shoulder width apart, butt facing parallel with the feet now. And we're just going to come on to raise the bubbling spring and down. Now we're not going to go all the way up on raising the bubbling spring. You're going to go about halfway. So again, rock onto the back of the heels and then raise the bubbling spring. The reason we're going halfway is because if we were doing that fascia bounce, you wouldn't go full range on the ankles to bounce. You'd be about halfway on the bounce. So what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to do some hold in that position. And I think this might have been what Tom was doing when he was doing his Achilles work as well. So just rocking forwards and backwards to start with. Making sure you've got no excess tension. And then rocking forwards. And again, we're just going about halfway, lifting the heels. Now it's very tempting here to hold the breath, but you want to hold a position. You really feel the ball of the foot into the ground, the bubbling spring into the ground. Breathing easy in and out through the nose. A little bit of softness in the knee, so we're not locked in the knee. It's a really nice way because everything is aligned. Making sure everything's aligned, breathing easy in and out through the nose. When you're ready, just lower, or when you lose the balance, just lower. Already my feet are tingling and feel nice. Let's do a few more of those. So gentle rock forwards and backwards to start with. Raising that bubbling spring, just lifting the heels about maybe an inch, inch and a half off the ground. And then balancing, breathing. Breathing in calmly in and out through the nose. Remember, the reason why we're breathing calmly in and out through the nose is to tell the mind, tell the brain we're safe. Just as we do when we're just doing a breathing practice and we're sitting and relaxing, putting ourselves or putting the mind or aiming to put ourselves into that parasympathetic, as much parasympathetic rest and recovery, even though we're really loading the body, strengthening the body. And then when you're ready, just back down. If you can stay there longer, even if you get a little bit of a vibration and a little bit of a shake, if you can stay there, breathing easy in and out through the nose with that intention, if you like, in your head, go for it. 30 seconds, 45 seconds longer if necessary. But again, we don't want to go to the point where we're like gripping, holding, tensing everything else up. Have a little bit of shake out. The next one, I've been playing around with this one actually, because if we're doing standing on one leg, what we often do is we stand on that one leg as if we're about to step forwards. So we can work on sort of like that strength, the spring strength as we step forward. So that's a classic standing on one leg position. But I'm going to ask you to do something slightly different this time. We might, if we've got time, we'll do both. But this is an interesting one that I've been playing around with, because when you land, when you're walking or running, we have to prepare, and we've done this in our Take a Step, we have to prepare to spring off. And we don't often strengthen this landing position. So the landing position, have your foot parallel, soften the knee so the knee bends a little bit, and this is going to sound contradictory or counterintuitive, slight internal rotation of the knee. And I'm going to ask you to drop this hip out, so it will take the opposite hip back a little bit. So it's as if we're going to go, oh, I'm just going to land and then step through. So it's a bit challenging, but can we hold that position? Let this hip drop out. It's very light. You think, oh, I shouldn't let that hip drop, but that hip will drop, but we need the strength of that hip dropping out or sitting out. Don't think of it as dropping, think of it as sitting over the leg. So we're in that, we're landing before we spring forwards, but we're going to hold that position and breathe easy in and out through the nose. And this side really wobbles for me. And yeah, you can use tigers if you want to balance. Breathing easy out through the nose, in and out through the nose. Let this hip drop. You feel all the tiny stabilizers in the foot. And then come back up. Shake out. It was one of the things I was working on, because if you don't feel, you know, Gillian was just saying about feeling not as springy. And the spring isn't just a bit of coming off the foot. The spring, you have to load the spring to step through. Now that was a big exaggeration, but that is what is happening in very micro movements. Let's do the opposite side, the other leg. So balance first, soften the knee, slight internal rotation in that hip, and let that hip drop out. It's completely different on this side for me. It's much more it feels much more natural. I get that rotation. This goes back to our spiral chain we're working on as well, but we're just holding the position. You're breathing in and out through the nose, telling the mind, yeah, all good. And then when you're ready, come back up to standing. And let's just do a leg swing after that. So just balance on, let's balance on the other side, just swinging the leg forwards and backwards, breathing easy. And then swap sides. Back onto the other leg, balance and swing across. And swap sides, swing across. Really freeing up the hip. And shake out. Let's just do one more isometric. I'm going to show you from the side. So we're going to step backwards. Make sure you've got room behind you. Step backwards onto the ball of the foot. So nice and solid. We're not going into a full lunge, but we're just doing almost like a little bit of a split squat. You've got the weight through the ball of the foot. Just bend that back knee a little bit. Not going too low. Tall through the spine. And again, grounding through the ball of the foot, with the back foot, through the foot, the sole of the foot, full foot through that front foot. Breathing. You're on parallel as well, so your hips are parallel, or your feet are parallel to the hips. Tall through the spine, keep that spine long, breathing easy. Then come back up, standing, and then just do the other side. Short step back, balance first, lower. Pretty evenly distributed with weight, not too far forwards, not too far back. Deliberately connecting to the ground, pushing into the ground, breathing. Softly in and out through the nose. Step forwards. Let's bring the feet, shoulder width, just a couple of pulling downs, breathing in, breathing out. And our standing posture, bamboo in the wind, just for a few moments, closing your eyes. And then breath in, opening your eyes, stepping out, brushing down. So a few more things to play with there. Just adding that little bit of isometric contraction in safely structured, and at the same time sending that signal of safety to the brain. by breathing easy now, in and out through the nose. Hope that was useful. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks as always for your support and for joining in. And I'm heading to London today, going on holiday to London. So we'll be normal on Monday, but I'll be in London on Monday morning anyways. But we'll have our normal session Monday morning as well. So have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.